Hey everyone, and welcome back to Esther N J. I do hope you are doing very well. I want to talk about the importance of using what you have. Now, what does using what you have look like in a generation and a society where inflation is increasing, job losses are increasing, business feels stagnant? You have to remember that everything that you have starts within yourself. And I remember a moment in time studying 2 Kings chapter 4, verse 1 to 7 about the widow's olive oil. And I want to read it just to give you a bit of context into what I'm going to say. And I'm really believing that this text will encourage you to remember what you have that is already in you. So it says in 2 Kings chapter 4, verse 1 to 7. The wife of a man from the company of the prophets cried out to Elisha, "Your servant, my husband, is dead, and you know that he revered the Lord. But now his creditor is coming to take my 2 boys as his slaves." Now this is the woman that is a widow crying out to Elisha for help and support. Elisha replied, verse 2, to her, "How can I help you? Tell me, what do you have in your house?" "Your servant has nothing there at all," she said, "except a small jar of olive oil." Elisha said, "Go round and ask your neighbors for empty jars." Wisdom and strategy there. Don't just ask for a few. Then go inside and shut the door behind you and your sons. Pour oil into all the jars, and as each is filled, put it to one side. Verse 5. She left him and shut the door behind her and her sons. They brought the jars to her, and she kept pouring. Obedience. Verse 6. When all the jars were full, she said to her son, "Bring me another one." But he replied, "There is not a jar left." Then the oil stopped flowing. She went and told the man of God, and he said, "Go, sell the oil and pay your debts. You and your son can live on what is left." Wow, wow, wow. It takes time to understand the word, and it also depends on the season that you are in, if you are willing to hear. One of the things that I love about this widow is that, yes, she was in a very vulnerable state, but she decided to listen to the prophet Elisha and gain instruction from him on what to do going forwards. Now, Prophet Elisha had to remind the woman that all she has to be successful, all she has to live on, all she has to make sure that she can sustain her life is within her. Why am I saying this? Because in our generation, it is becoming very easy to look at what other people are doing and want to do what they are doing. In other words, you feel triggered that you're not doing enough. You may be in a full-time job right now and you're thinking of leaving your job to start a business. But my question for you is, before you consider that, have you planned your strategy? Do you know what you want to do should you leave your full-time job? Or there are people who are running businesses and they've got multiple hats on, but they're not good at delegating tasks. Have you taken the time to understand what you are good at and outsource things that you are not necessarily good at to others who are? But the ultimate key of this text is to remind you and I that everything we have to be successful, to live well right now, is within us. Anything that triggers you reminds you to look within yourself. Now, if the woman said to Elisha, "There's no point, no one's going to buy my oil, I don't have anything left, let me just stay here and lay desolate," she would have been finished. Her son would have been finished. But the beauty of this text is knowing that her obedience saved her. And through the relationship that Prophet Elisha had with God, they were both able to communicate on what they could do to support the widow. Being in a season of vulnerability is not easy. And it comes back to how your relationship is with the Lord. Now, I'm a strong advocate in encouraging people to have a relationship with the Lord. I really want you to understand how important it is to have that quality time with Jesus and take that time to sit down, rest, be still, be calm, and ask yourself, what do you want me to do in this season of my life? One of the greatest gifts I believe I know I possess is book writing and public speaking. I love storytelling. And I love turning those stories into books. And I also help other people turn their stories into valuable books and resources. Why? Because books are permanent, tangible assets that add value to one's mind when they read it. And at times we have to be reminded that what we feed ourselves is the result that we are going to receive back. The outcome that you get from you feeding something depends on the effort that you put into it. So the amount of effort you put into finding out what is within you will birth so much great results that other people will find what is good about you and want to invest in you. Having time for yourself to work behind the scenes is very important. And at these critical stages of our lives, we have to understand that we have a purpose to fulfill on this earth. We are not here to worry about what we don't yet have, but we can look at what we do have. If you're good at singing, utilize it and inspire people with your voice. If you're good at reading books, speak to schools that can give you an opportunity to share your story with them. And I remember in 2020, in April, I did my first video after the pandemic about using your gifts wisely. And I'm going to link that down in the description bar below for you to watch in your own time. I really want to encourage you today to utilize what is in you, your personality, your books, your resources, even your current place of work, your friendship circle, your community, your network. There's a saying that goes, your network is your net worth. And I understand that. But before you know your worth in others, know your worth in yourself first, so that people will see the value that you provide to them. Don't wait until life gets better before you start finding yourself. Do you know it is very possible for you to find yourself in chaos? As I mentioned that word before, trigger. What does trigger mean in this society, in this season that we are in? You look at someone's social media post, you're scrolling down. Subconsciously, you're comparing yourself and thinking, oh, I should be doing that. Or, I think I'm a bit better than that. I can do way better. That is not looking after yourself. That is crushing yourself slowly. Because everything that you need is already in you, not in the other person. And it's not enough for us to make excuses as to why we are not further than where we are if we are always complaining and not seeing what we have. Now, if this widow didn't acknowledge the oil, the remaining oil, should I even say, in her house, she would have missed out on the opportunity to sell what she had. So therefore, she was able to make money from the oil that she already had in her home. Now, what do you have in your house that you can not only support yourself, but you can actually encourage other people to do the same in their endeavors? When someone publishes a book, for example, it gets the reader excited that, wow, I didn't know that he or she went through this. This really encouraged me. Maybe I can write a book as well. You have encouraged that person to look within. Understand that before the money, the passion comes first. I spoke about this on the Authentic Worth YouTube page on how to build a successful business and what I have learned from building Authentic Worth organically. Very important to remember this, that your passion speaks for you. When you are intentional and you know what you are doing, you've done your research, you are up to date with your industry, people will believe in you and they will invest in you. Don't give too much of your time away to things that are not going to add value in your life. If this woman thought that her life was over, who knows if she would have met Elisha. And another thing I want to encourage us all with is that we need the right people. I'm not saying that you can do this life on your own. Yes, there will be moments where you will need time for yourself. Very important. And that could be to travel abroad, to spend time with you, to be in a solitude season, a moment of rest and peace. But there are also times where you need the right strategic people that can help you along the way to remind you what you have in you. It's not enough for you to sit on your gifts and think that nothing is going to change. Remember, as a man or as a woman thinks in his or her heart, so is he or so is she. Whatever you think about is the result you are going to have. You've posted content on social media and you expect people to convert those likes into purchasing patterns. What have you stated that is eye-catching to your audience? Is your words lengthy? Do you know the people that contribute and follow you and interact with you on a one-to-one basis? Have you taken the time to understand what your audience needs from you, not what you just want to post for the sake of it? There are reasons why people don't get things straight away. It's not that they're rude. Perhaps it's not in their interest at this moment in time. But it doesn't mean that it won't be in their interest another time. When things don't work out in your favor, it is an opportunity for you to be thankful because it's teaching you something that you should do better. Anytime someone says no to you, never take that personally. Work on yourself. If you failed in an exam, if you failed in a friendship, no matter where you are right now in your life, do not ever put yourself down because of that one mistaked moment. Look within yourself and ask, what could I have done better? Remember, life does not only exist with you. You have a big world out there that is waiting for you to share your story, your expertise, your encouragement, your life in wisdom, to encourage and let others know that there is hope on the other side of life. And I want to come here to encourage you that this season of your life is not the end, and it will not break you, but it's going to make you into a valuable tool and an asset for the world, for your community, for the society. Build locally, think globally. Remember, where you are today is not going to be where you are tomorrow. Every single day is changing, and that is the beauty of life. Life makes sense when you look within, and life will make sense when you know the one who lives in you. And this is a scripture that I really love in Galatians chapter 2, verse 20. It says that I am crucified with Christ. The life I live by faith because Jesus lives in me. And I'm paraphrasing that. One of the greatest attributes about this scripture is knowing the one who lives in you and living by faith. Without faith, we cannot please the Father, and we know this. We're coming towards the end of 2022. What have you learned throughout this year? What are the things that you can take away and say, I know what I need to work on going forwards? Even if it's just spending time studying a book or studying a chapter in the Bible or taking an online course or doing something productive for yourself, working on your mental well-being. I really want this video to remind you that where you are is for a purpose. Do not ever cheat yourself or think that you're meant to be elsewhere. There are lessons that the Lord is going to teach you in the season that you are in, as long as you remain obedient and attentive to his voice. Don't think that you need to do so much and carry the world on your shoulders without taking the time to rest. Work on what is in you. Work on your character. Work on your heart. Work on your joy. Work on you. Think to yourself, how am I right now? Do I want to be around me? Is my character a reflection of who I want to be around? Think about that. And when you think about that, we'll talk in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. And I'm believing that it has encouraged you. And I want you to take the time to study 2 Kings chapter 4, verse 1 to 7. If not, the whole chapter, to get a deeper insight into this widow's faith. Yes, she started off a bit vulnerable, but because of her obedience to Prophet Elisha, she got her breakthrough by looking at what was already in her house. Look at what's in your heart. Utilize what you have and see how far it will take you. Until next time, I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.